Have you ever, stopped to really think about what happens to all that personal information you share every single day?
It's a lot, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
From buying something online with your card to just browsing holidays or even sending a quick message, our digital footprint, it's just huge and growing.
Yeah, and it's so easy to just click accept on those terms and conditions and not think twice.
Exactly. But there's this whole legal system working behind the scenes trying to manage it all. So today, we're doing a deep dive into data privacy laws.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission really is to unpack how all that personal data is legally handled, and maybe more importantly, how it's protected so it respects your privacy.
And it's becoming so vital, right? Not just for us as individuals, but professionally too.
Absolutely. It's even cropping up in places you might not expect, like the CPA exam materials. It's becoming core knowledge.
Okay, before we dive deeper though, just a quick reminder. This deep dive is based on material from Farhat lectures.
All the content, examples, everything we discuss here, it's derived from the accounting resources over at farhatlectures.com.
Great stuff over there.
Definitely. So whether you're an accounting student, maybe studying for the CPA, or already a professional, you should visit the website. Lots of extra practice questions, video lectures, detailed support to really hammer home today's topic.
Yeah, really useful.
And a special thanks to Professor Farhat for providing all this valuable material.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get right into it. When we talk about data privacy laws, what exactly are we talking about? Like the basic definition.
Well, fundamentally, these are the laws that dictate how data is legally collected, stored, managed, and shared.
Okay.
And the key principle always is that it has to be done in a way that respects the privacy of the individual.
Got it. So collection, storage, management, sharing, respecting privacy.
Exactly. And these laws tend to zero in on a few critical things, like consent,
Consent.
meaning what you actually agree can be done with your data, what you don't agree to. Then there's notice.
Like telling you what they're doing.
Precisely. Are companies being upfront about their data practices? And finally, there are the regulatory obligations.
So the specific rules they have to follow from government bodies and such.
Exactly. Think like the FTC here in the US or, the DPAs in Europe. They set the rules. It's all about making sure things are transparent and that you've actually agreed.
That makes sense. It's not just a free-for-all.
Not at all. And it's also really important to understand that data privacy, well, it's often seen as a subset of data security.
Okay, subset. How so?
Think of it like this. Data security is locking your front door, keeping unwanted people out.
Right.
Data privacy is deciding who gets a key and what rooms they're allowed into once they're inside.
Okay, so you need the security first, the locked door.
Exactly. You can't really have meaningful privacy if the data isn't secure to begin with. And another huge point, you touched on it, is how different these laws are globally.
Yeah, you mentioned Europe versus the US.
Right. European laws, like GDPR, they tend to be much more restrictive, much more focused on individual rights from the outset. But it varies hugely. Continent to continent, country to country.
Which must make things complicated for international companies.
Oh, definitely. Handling global data flows is a major challenge because of these differences.
Okay, so that distinction between privacy and security is key. And the global aspect, too. So what kinds of data are actually covered by these laws? It's not just my name and email, right? It feels like it must be broader.
Oh, much broader. It's incredibly comprehensive, actually.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Sure. We're talking about your basic personal information, obviously name, address, physical address, tax ID, or social security number.
The identifiers.
Right. But it goes way beyond that. Your health records.
Yeah.
Very sensitive.
Okay.
Your financial data, bank accounts, credit card info, transactions,
Makes sense.
and even your genetic data.
Wow. Genetic data, too. Okay, that's really personal.
It is. Basically, almost any piece of information that can be linked back to you as an identifiable individual often falls under these protections.
So why should someone listening, maybe not an auditor, but just living their digital life, why should they really care deeply about this? Beyond just, oh, that's interesting.
Well, because these laws impose really strict rules on how companies process and handle your data, the movement of it, everything.
Right.
And crucially, they give you, the individual, rights, fundamental rights, like the right to know what data is being stored about you.
So I can ask a company, what do you have on me?
Yes. And you also have the right to know how they're using it. And connecting this back, maybe for those CPA candidates listening,
Yeah.
this is huge now in audits. A big part of compliance is checking. Is the company's data secure? Is it protected? Are they following all the relevant data privacy regulations?
So auditors are actually looking at data privacy policies now.
Absolutely. They're looking at data retention, how consent is managed, what happens if there's a breach. It's a major part of due diligence these days.
Okay, fascinating. So we know what they are, what data they cover.
Uh-huh.
Let's shift to the why. Why do we actually need these laws? What are the core problems they're trying to solve?
Yeah, the why is critical. There are several really fundamental reasons.
What's the first big one?
Well, the most obvious one is simply the protection of personal information.
Okay, protection, like stopping hackers.
That's part of it, definitely. Preventing unauthorized access. But it's broader. It's also about setting rules for fair, safe, and lawful collection in the first place.
Meaning they shouldn't just grab everything.
Exactly. Companies shouldn't just be hoovering up data they don't actually need or using it for reasons they never told you about.
Right.
So, as an individual, you should be able to expect that the data they hold on you is accurate,
Makes sense.
that it's used only for the purpose you agreed to when you gave it to them.
Okay.
And importantly, that they get rid of it properly when they don't need it anymore. It's about building trust right from the start.
That idea of trust and protecting the info seems to lead right into empowering the individual, doesn't it?
It really does. Which brings us neatly to the second purpose, upholding individual rights.
Okay, what specific rights are we talking about?
These laws typically grant you quite a bit of control. For instance, the right to access your data. We mentioned that, finding out what they have.
Yeah.
Then the right to correct data if it's wrong.
Like fixing a typo in my address or phone number.
Exactly. Or maybe incorrect credit information. You have the right to get that fixed. You also often have the right to erase your data.
Erase it, like delete my account and everything with it.
Pretty much, yeah. Sometimes called the right to be forgotten. And you can also restrict how it's processed or even object to it being used in certain ways.
Object? Like how?
Well, a really common example is objecting to your data being used for direct marketing.
Stopping the spam emails.
Basically, yes. Or telling a company, look, you cannot sell my information, or don't share it with that third-party agency.
So it really does put some power back in your hands.
That's the goal, to give you genuine control, let you understand, and ultimately dictate how your personal story, your data, is being used. It's your legal defense against, that constant barrage of ads.
Okay, so individuals get more control. What about the companies themselves? How does it regulate them?
That leads us to the third purpose, regulating data processing.
Right.
These laws set out clear guidelines for businesses, for organizations on how they can process personal data.
What kind of guidelines?
Things like who is allowed to process the data, for what specific purpose they can process it, and under what conditions.
So it's not just do whatever you want.
Definitely not. Many laws require organizations to have a lawful basis for processing data.
A lawful basis? Like what?
Well, it could be that you gave explicit consent. That's a common one.
Okay.
Or maybe it's necessary to fulfill a contract with you, like processing your address to ship something you bought.
Right, practical reasons.
Or sometimes it's for the company's legitimate interests, though that one has specific rules around it. But critically, if they no longer have that lawful basis,
They had to stop.
they have to start processing the data. So if they collected your info just for one specific event or sale, once that's done, they can't just keep using it indefinitely without a new, valid reason.
That makes sense. And related to that, I guess, is transparency. Making sure we know what's happening.
Exactly. That's the fourth purpose, promoting transparency.
How does that work in practice?
Organizations are often legally required to be really clear and open about why they need your information.
Like those privacy notices we get.
Precisely. You've probably gotten emails or even letters in the mail explaining how your data is being collected, how it's used, maybe who it's being shared with, any third parties involved.
Yeah, I usually just scroll past those.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't.
Well, they're there for a reason. That transparency is what helps you understand what's going on so you can exercise your rights if you need to.
Right.
And ultimately, it helps build that trust we talked about between you and the companies you deal with.
Okay, trust, transparency, rights. What about just keeping the data safe from bad actors? Security.
Absolutely crucial. That's the fifth purpose, ensuring proper security measures.
We touched on security being the foundation for privacy.
We did. And these laws often mandate it. They typically require organizations to implement appropriate security measures to protect your personal data.
Appropriate. Meaning what kind of threats?
Protection from, well, everything really. Unauthorized access hackers getting in, accidental disclosure, someone emailing the wrong list.
Oh, yeah. That happens.
Any alteration or changes to the data or even its destruction, they need safeguards against all of it.
What kind of safeguards are we talking about?
It's a mix. Could be physical security, like locked server rooms, access badges,
Okay.
cybersecurity tools, obviously firewalls, encryption, intrusion detection. Access controls are huge, making sure only the right employees can see specific data. And employee training, so people don't accidentally cause a breach.
Right, the human element. So the laws force companies to actually invest in this stuff.
Yes, they create a legal obligation, often with specific standards they have to meet, to really protect your information.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier that laws vary globally. How do these laws handle data moving between countries?
Good question. That's the sixth purpose. Managing global data transfer.
Because data zips around the world constantly now.
Exactly. In our globalized world, your personal data might be processed in multiple countries. What's allowed in terms of transferring data out of, say, Europe might be very different from the rules in the US or Asia.
So the laws have rules for that.
They do. They have specific provisions to govern these international transfers, aiming to ensure that your data remains protected even when it crosses borders into places with potentially weaker laws.
Trying to create a baseline level of protection no matter where it goes.
That's the idea. It's
Yeah.
complex, but necessary.
Okay. So what happens if companies mess up? If they misuse data or don't protect it properly? Is there accountability?
There has to be. That's the seventh purpose. Accountability and enforcement.
How are companies held accountable?
These laws establish mechanisms to make sure data controllers and processors, the ones handling the data, are responsible if things go wrong.
Wait, controllers and processors, what's the difference?
Good distinction. A data controller is the entity that decides why and how data is processed. Think the main company collecting your email for their newsletter.
Okay.
A data processor is someone who processes data on behalf of the controller. Like maybe a third-party email marketing service the company uses?
Got it. So both can be held accountable.
Yes. The laws often require things like keeping detailed records of all data processing activities.
Like an audit trail.
Sort of, yeah. Conducting privacy impact assessments, basically. Analyzing the risks before starting a new project involving personal data. Sometimes appointing specific data protection officers or DPOs.
Someone whose job it is to oversee this.
Right. And critically, reporting data breaches, both to the regulatory authorities and often directly to the individuals affected.
So they have to tell you if your data was compromised.
Generally, yes. And there are penalties for noncompliance. Sometimes very significant fines, other sanctions too. Real teeth to enforce the rules.
Okay, that enforcement piece is critical. Which brings us, I suppose, full circle back to trust.
It really does. That's the eighth, and maybe the overarching purpose. Building trust in a digital economy.
How so?
By setting and enforcing these standards, these practices, data privacy laws, help build confidence, build trust between users like you and the organizations you interact with online.
Because you feel safer giving them your information.
Exactly. When you hand over your credit card details, your address, your phone number to an online store, you have a reasonable expectation now, often a legal right, that they will protect it.
And without that trust.
The digital economy doesn't function nearly as well. Trust is crucial. When people feel their data is safe, they're much more willing to engage in online transactions, use digital services, share information needed for those services to work.
Whether it's buying something, using social media, or accessing online banking.
All of it.
Yeah.
It really fuels our modern economy.
So, wrapping this up then.
Yeah.
It's clear these data privacy laws aren't just, boring legal documents. They're actually pretty fundamental.
Absolutely. They're essential tools for protecting your personal information, for empowering you as an individual with rights over your data.
And for creating that bedrock of trust that makes our digital world, work. They're kind of like your personal digital bodyguard.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Okay. So as we finish this deep dive, maybe a final thought to leave people with.
Yeah, something to chew on, perhaps. Given how fast technology is evolving, think about AI analyzing massive data sets, the Internet of Things connecting everything.
Right, constant change.
What completely new challenges do you think might emerge for data privacy in the next few years? How might we as individuals need to adapt how we think about our data and exercise our rights in a world that's becoming even more interconnected and data hungry? Especially when data gets collected for one reason and then potentially repurposed for something totally different down the line, maybe by an algorithm we don't even understand.
Yeah.
It's definitely something we'll all need to keep thinking about.
That's a really important point. How do we keep up? So maybe take a moment after listening to reflect on your own data habits. Think about what you've learned about the power these laws actually give you.
Yeah.
Because understanding this stuff isn't just for the lawyers or the auditors anymore. It's really an investment in your own digital security and, frankly, just part of being an informed citizen in today's